The alarm shatters the morning silence long before the sun dares to rise. Mia stares at the glowing screen of her smartphone. The relentless scroll of picture-perfect lives reflects in her exhausted eyes. A hot cup of black coffee sits forgotten on the glass table. Steam rises from the ceramic mug and vanishes into the cold air. She ties her running shoes with aggressive speed. The concrete sidewalk pounds against her feet as she sprints through the gray neighborhood. She is chasing a finish line that constantly moves further away. Dewdrops tremble on the edges of perfectly manicured suburban lawns. Blue Sky stands motionless at the corner of the intersection. He watches the frantic rush of morning commuters from beneath his dark coat. A heavy leather journal rests securely in his left hand. The pages contain the timeless meditations of Marcus Aurelius. He understands the trap that consumes the people around him. They are running toward a mirage of happiness painted by a restless society. A sudden gust of wind sweeps a cluster of brown leaves across the asphalt. Mia pushes harder and gasps for breath in the freezing morning air. She believes that one more promotion or one more achievement will finally bring her peace. The city skyline looms in the distance like a fortress of unfulfilled promises. Sunlight strikes the glass towers and creates blinding reflections on the pavement. Happiness has been sold to us as a destination to conquer. We treat joy as a transactional reward for enduring endless exhaustion. Blue Sky turns his gaze toward a solitary sparrow resting on a street lamp. The bird asks for nothing and simply exists in the gentle morning breeze. Mia finally stops running and collapses onto a wooden park bench. Her heart hammers against her ribs in a frantic rhythm. She opens a social media app again to seek validation from glowing pixels. A bitter emptiness settles deeply in her chest. Chasing happiness is the exact mechanism that destroys it. The harder we grip the sand, the faster it slips through our fingers. The harder we grip the sand, the faster it slips through our fingers. The scene shifts to a high-rise corporate office bathed in artificial white light. Mia types furiously on a mechanical keyboard. The rhythmic clicking echoes through the sterile room. A freshly brewed black coffee rests next to her stack of financial reports. The dark liquid ripples slightly as a heavy truck rumbles on the street below. She is fighting for a bonus she hopes will buy her a sense of freedom. True freedom never comes with a price tag attached. Blue Sky walks slowly through a dense pine forest, miles away from the city. Sunlight filters through the green canopy in thick golden beams. He steps carefully over a moss-covered log. The scent of damp earth and pine needles fills the cool air. He remembers the words of Epictetus about controlling only the internal mind. Everything outside of our will is indifferent and unworthy of our anxiety. Mia receives a congratulatory email from her manager. A fleeting smile crosses her face for exactly 3 seconds. The satisfaction evaporates instantly into the cold glow of the monitor. She is back to staring at the void of the next uncompleted task. A drop of condensation slides slowly down the side of her coffee cup. The pursuit of pleasure conditions the brain to crave more. It creates an endless loop of desire and temporary relief. Blue Sky reaches a serene mountain lake reflecting the clear blue sky. The water surface is smooth like a massive sheet of polished glass. He sits on a smooth gray stone at the water's edge. He simply watches a single ripple form from a falling pebble. Peace is found in the absence of desire. We suffer because we constantly demand the world to match our expectations. Mia leaves the towering office building and steps into a torrential downpour. Neon signs bleed red and blue across the wet pavement. She forgot her umbrella and instantly feels a surge of intense frustration. Her carefully planned day is ruined by unpredictable weather. She clenches her jaw and marches angrily toward the subway station. Raindrops shatter violently against the metal handrails. Resistance to reality is the root of all human suffering. We fight the rain instead of simply getting wet. Blue Sky watches the same storm rolling over the mountain peaks. He does not seek shelter or curse the darkened sky. He allows the cool rain to wash over his face. The weather is neither good nor bad. It is only our judgment that labels the storm as a misfortune. Mia sits on the crowded subway train, surrounded by exhausted faces. The fluorescent lights flicker erratically overhead. A discarded newspaper rustles under the seat. She realizes that despite all her achievements, she feels incredibly hollow. The illusion of the perfect life is shattering before her eyes. You cannot build a foundation of peace on external validation. The train screeches loudly as it rounds a sharp corner. Blue Sky strikes a match to light a small campfire in a rocky cave. The yellow flame dances and casts warm shadows on the stone walls. He warms his hands and feels profound gratitude for this simple warmth. He does not wish to be anywhere else in the world. The present moment is the only reality that actually exists. Everything else is a phantom of memory or a ghost of expectation. Mia returns to her luxurious but deeply silent apartment. She drops her expensive leather bag onto the polished hardwood floor. The sound echoes loudly through the empty hallway. She walks over to the vast window overlooking the glittering city. Millions of lights twinkle in the darkness like trapped stars. Each light represents another person chasing a horizon they will never reach. She places her hand flat against the cold glass. The desperate race for more has cost her the ability to simply be. Blue Sky pours steaming water over crushed coffee beans in a tin cup. The rich aroma cuts through the damp smell of the cave. He takes a slow sip and tastes the bitter complexity. True contentment is found in the deliberate appreciation of the mundane. We do not need a grand purpose to justify our existence. Mia finally unplugs her phone and throws it onto the velvet couch. A profound silence envelops the dark room. For the first time in years, she stops making plans for tomorrow. She sits on the rug and simply listens to the rhythmic hum of the refrigerator. The tension in her shoulders slowly begins to melt away. Letting go of the chase feels like dropping a massive weight. Blue Sky watches the dawn break over the jagged mountain ridge. The sky transforms into a magnificent canvas of purple and gold. A lone hawk circles effortlessly on invisible thermal currents. Nature does not rush, and yet everything is perfectly accomplished. Mia steps out onto her balcony to feel the morning breeze. The city is still quiet before the manic rush begins again. She closes her eyes and focuses entirely on the sensation of breathing. The cold air fills her lungs and revitalizes her weary spirit. She realizes that peace has always been available, waiting patiently within her. We abandon ourselves when we search for salvation in external things. Blue Sky begins his descent down the rocky mountain trail. Loose gravel crunches sharply beneath his heavy boots. He moves with a deliberate and unhurried grace. His mind is an impenetrable fortress against the chaos of the world. Mia brews a fresh cup of coffee in her minimalist kitchen. She watches the dark liquid swirl and settle in the white mug. She is no longer drinking it to fuel a frantic sprint. She is drinking it simply to experience the warmth and the taste. A stray beam of sunlight illuminates floating dust motes in the air. The beauty of existence lies entirely in the present fraction of a second. Blue sky reaches the outskirts of a bustling suburban town. A street vendor organizes colorful fruits on a wooden cart. Blue Sky buys a single apple and offers a genuine smile of gratitude. The vendor nods back, recognizing a shared moment of simple humanity. Mia deletes the apps that have been secretly draining her mental energy. She looks at her reflection in the mirror and sees herself clearly. She forgives herself for believing the lie that she was never enough. You do not need to earn your right to feel at peace. A vintage clock on the wall ticks with a soothing and steady rhythm. Time is not a resource to be hoarded or maximized for profit. Time is simply the space in which we are allowed to exist. Blue Sky sits on a wooden bench facing the turbulent ocean. Massive waves crash violently against the dark coastal rocks. White sea foam sprays high into the salty air. He does not ask the ocean to calm down or change its nature. He accepts the wild roar of the water just as it is. Mia walks out of her apartment building without a specific destination. She notices the vibrant green moss growing between the cracked pavement stones. She feels the texture of the fabric of her coat against her skin. The world has not changed, but her entire perspective has shifted. She has stopped chasing the illusion of a perfect future. Blue Sky takes out his journal and writes a single sentence in black ink. He closes the leather cover and places it back into his pocket. The pursuit of happiness is replaced by the profound discipline of acceptance. A flock of seagulls flies in perfect unison across the gray horizon. Mia smiles softly at the passing strangers on the bustling street. She is no longer running a race she never signed up for. The relentless storm inside her mind has finally been quieted. True peace is found exactly where you are standing right now.